And I am here. I'm live. Let's get rid of the thumbnail. Hello, everyone. Oh, I need to get rid of the banner as well. There we are. All right. Hello. And welcome to this, the first of several live streams where I'm going to be building this beautiful big beast. Not these, by the way. I will say, though, these are the gifts that you get. You would have gotten. You're not getting them anymore. You got them if you pre-ordered your set, which I did. So what we have here, inside here, we have a keychain of the set. Oh, that's the wrong way around. I suppose like that. There you go. So that is one of the May 4th gifts with products that you get. A keychain. You get a poly bag of the Millennium Falcon. And the biggest one of them is this Camino training facility, as seen in the Clone Wars TV show, and the Bad Batch as well. Now, the thing is, I don't really much care for them. I'm probably just going to end up selling these anyway. If you're interested, contact me, I suppose. But yeah, this is not really the stuff that I'm interested in. This one is. Because the thing is, I have a little bit of history in terms of the slave one, and that is that I got the latest one that was released 10 years ago, which was about 2,000 pieces. It was, of course, the Boba Fett one, so the gray and green and red one, not this color setting, and I really love that set. I had to sell it back then because I had money issues, so I needed to sell it. But then when I saw that they were releasing this, I'm like, I need to get this because it looks beautiful, honestly. But enough about that, enough talking. Let's. It seems okay. So it seems it's a simple case of pieces of tape all around. Yep. I did not get a knife, so I'm just doing this with some nail scissors. I should probably show you the back of the box that you're in for if you're getting this. To be fair, in my opinion, before even building this is already worth my money because it just looks beautiful. I've seen reviews; they've been very good. Yeah, if you look at the back of the box, of course, yeah, you see a couple of the features that the set has. This is if it's lying down on its back, you can actually put it like that. Let's see. This is a shot from the movie from Attack of the Clones. We have a cockpit, a back angle of the ship. And you also see the width and the height of the set in terms of that, like how high and how wide it actually is. Doesn't show, of course, the depth, but it's a bit difficult to really show that. But anyway, let's pull this one off. Come on. Okay, well, then we got a whole bunch of bags. Not plastic, paper. Nowadays, most of the stuff is paper, even though one of the sets I got recently is actually for May the 4th. I got 3 sets. The other 2 I already built on my own. This is one of them. But the first set that I got was... Oh yeah, the logo. Star Wars logo. You cannot really see it. I should show it. But I built this one by myself. Logo, I like it. I think it's a nice display piece for my background, so I was like, why not? So that one I had in paper bags. This one is in paper bags, but the other one that I got, Chopper, was in plastic bags. I'm like, Lego, I thought we were doing paper, but whatever. Anyway, I'm just gonna put you here, and I think I'm actually gonna use this to put these bags into and organize. So we got number 16, number 3. That's actually pretty soon. This is number 9, 17, 5, 4, 21. Okay. Always curious with these, like, what is the highest number that you have? 21 is already quite a lot of backs, to be fair. Let's see, 14, 22, even higher. I'm just going to hope that that's the highest number I get, otherwise, oops. Also, I need to put this on. Any potential comments? If you're watching this, feel free to say something, ask me a question, whatever you want. Back number 8, 18, 13, 15, 20. That works. Wait, did I have 19? No, I have 18, right? Yeah. I'm just looking around. Back number 1. What we should start with. Oh, 23. New highest number. 11, 6, 7. Oh, we do have some plastic stuff for the very big Technic beams that you get. This is also. This is the windshield. So let's get those separately. 12. 10, 19, there we go. One I was looking for. 19. Alright, that's pretty much the edge of it. Now where was 18? I remember getting 18. There you go. 18. Come on. A bit difficult to organize this stuff. 17. I had 16. Right? Can't remember well. 15. 16. There it is. 15. Alright. That was 14. Let's get it time. 14. 13. Did I have 12? I don't remember going 12. It's 2. Okay. 12. 11. 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Cool. Total of 23 bags. That's quite a lot. Ooh, the instructions, I assume. Interesting packaging for it. I actually do appreciate the fact that they package these instructions these days, because, especially for bigger sets, it's fragile. Oh. These are quite big. Alright. That's going to be my box where I just dump my garbage into. Anyway, so there are stickers wedged in between the booklets. Never a big fan of stickers, but I feel it's kind of obligatory for certain sets, especially something like this. If you want details, to create those details, they're important. So those are the stickers. I'm gonna actually. I probably should leave this in the packaging. because I get the feeling if I get them out. Now, yeah, also with these, I'm not sure when I'll be needing them. I hope not anytime soon. Oh, right, there's the plaque as well. So I'll only open it if I need it, but if I don't have to, I'll rather keep it in there to essentially keep it safe, you know. Anyway, sticker sheet goes over there. So 2 instruction manuals. I don't think I've ever really expressed my disappointment with the colors on these. Oh, hey Greg, how are you doing? Just opened the set, and I was talking about my disappointment of the instruction manuals because they're all white. They're very bland. There's nothing going on with them, and they've been white for a while. I'm aware of this. This is what Lego does. But the boxes are black and the instruction manuals are white, and there's nothing else to it. They used to have really cool, like, you know, artwork. But no, they're just white. So there's that. So I'm not going to say much more about that. They are numbered 1 and 2, so I'm going to start with 1. At least I assume I have to start with 1. All right, all the standard stuff. Intro word from the designer with the picture from Attack of the Clones, where the Slave One is hunting down Obi-Wan. One of a kind. A little bit of backstory about Jango Fett. We see some more artwork from the Clone Wars. Dooku, Jango, Sam Wessel. I just got done with Doom 2016. I don't know what that is. But good luck with that. Actually, this is this seems like concept art from the Clone Wars over here. Actually, so this is a little bit about Jango. This is a bit of history about the Slave One itself. Also, it's a game. Okay. Doom 2016, Doom Eternal are games. All right. Well, the more you know. Running in the family. I can only assume that this is something about the fact that after Jango passed away, Boba took over the ship. Got a shot, very iconic shot of the seismic charge being jettisoned into space, and then of course Boba holding his dad's helmet in Attack of the Clones. This is something about the new techniques, which I can only assume are very advanced, because as I said, like the last Slave One that we got, which by the way, I wanted to touch on this. I'm calling this the Slave One because that's its name. I don't care that Lego or Star Wars or whoever else doesn't want to call it that and they want to call it Jango Fett Starship. I think it's a stupid name, and I think we should just keep with the Slave One, because the Slave One, it has been its name ever since it was founded in 1980. It has been called the Slave One in canon, most recently I think in The Mandalorian. So yeah, I'm calling it the Slave One. A little bit of details about what you have in the set. And then we can start. And we're actually starting with a minifigure. Sometimes they save these, but in this case we're actually starting with Jango. First of all, what is my favorite set of all time? Probably Rivendell, which we pieced together last year. There's a big stream on my channel if you're interested. I did that together with a couple of friends. We all got the same set and we tried to see who was fastest. Spoiler alert, it was me, and it wasn't even close. It was not even close. It was funny though. But yeah, Rivendell is great. In terms of Star Wars, probably the UCS Star Destroyer. that's because it was my first huge Star Wars set that I got like 5 years ago. So yeah, in terms of Star Wars, it's a Star Destroyer. Notification. Ah, thank you for approving it, admin. All right. Oh wait, why did I should just have my stream on, I suppose. Come on, work here, you bitch. Yours are the UCS AT-AT. That's a good one. That's a very good one. I also have a live stream about how I did that one. The Dune Ornithopter. It's out of the shop, but I have it up here. Let's see. There it is. Dune Ornithopter. Though I wasn't a particularly big fan of the build, if I'm being honest. I'm not a big fan of Technic. The 1999 Batmobile. I'm jealous if you got that one, because it's not on sale anymore. And if it were on sale these days, I probably would get it. And the Jaws boat, I assume, the one that they released this past year. It looked pretty cool, that Jaws boat that they released. But yeah, those are a couple of good sets. I was just not particularly a fan of the Ornithopter because I'm not a fan of Technic, but it looks great, and the play function of the wings going out was insane. So essentially, like, I wasn't a fan of the process of piecing it together, but it's a really good set. So all good picks, I'd say. All right, let's start. Looking forward to new Speed Champions and their shuttle. I've seen the space shuttle. It looks really awesome. The thing is, though, that considering I have the Space Shuttle Discovery from a couple of years ago, the very big one, I'm not going to get the carrier. Also because, unfortunately, my girlfriend has a say in what Lego sets I'm allowed to get and, put in my apartment. I already have to put a lot in my own room here just to make sure that she doesn't get too mad at me. But it looks great, the carrier. All right, so... Oh, that's interesting. Jango's head was already inside his helmet. That was funny. Anyway, so... the iconic Mandalorian armor for Jango. Let's see. I prefer your stern face, not your angry face. Oh, wait. I'm making a little mistake. I should put his jetpack on first. Jetpack first. Then his face. And now, what I also like about this is you get a version where you see him with his helmet on. But you can also take the helmet off and put a hairpiece on. So you have his hair. I am just going to put his helmet on. I think it's a pretty iconic look, the Mandalorian look. But it's not... Oh, and of course, there is a... there you are. The scope that he has on. So, do you have everything together? Yeah, I think so. All right, so we have a very good minifigure of Jango Fett, I think, with his blasters, with the scope. You have nice arm prints, leg prints. I think it's a pretty good looking minifigure. You even get a hairpiece with it if you want to change that out. But yeah, good minifigure for sure. Even though I don't much care about minifigures, but it's a good one. Hoping to go to Houston. Considering I'm not American, I'm not too in the know about what's going on over there. So, what's going on? Anyway, Jango Fett minifigure. I'm just gonna put him right here. He can look. All right, let's go. If you have, just to get out. Cool. What are my weekend plans? I have D&D tomorrow. I have D&D on Saturday. I'm gonna see Sinners on Saturday. I've heard very good things. It's getting very good reviews. Ryan Coogler is a good director. Michael B. Jordan is a good actor, so I'm looking forward to that one. Love to go to London. I was there this past Christmas for a week. We went around the holidays. It was very nice. And we were there 2 years ago for Star Wars Celebration, which was also a lot of fun. It's crazy though. Like, if you go to Celebration, I don't think anything can really prepare you for what it is. Celebration is nuts, and I can only assume that Japan was the same. The Final Reckoning on opening day. Yeah, we are planning something similar. Very much looking forward to Final Reckoning. Probably at least one of my most anticipated movies for this year. I'm not sure if it's at the top, but it's in my top 3. And we plan to go to IMAX, for which we have to travel like an hour. But hey, it's worth it because it's Mission Impossible and it's awesome. And Tom Cruise, what I really love the effort that Tom Cruise is putting into like actually doing his own stunts. Got it right. Like the fact that he is doing all these crazy stunts and they're all filming it in IMAX cameras makes me like, okay, you know what? You're putting that effort into it, then I'll pay the money to go see you in IMAX because I want to see that. Oh boy, Disney live action remakes, huh? I'll just say I am not. That's where I want to leave that. You know what I'm looking forward to? Andor episodes 10 through 12 of season 2, the final 3 episodes of Andor. My God. Andor is coming to an end, and I'm not ready for it. I'm still not emotionally over what we saw this past week. Andor is insane. The hell is that? Stickers or something. Anywho. Oh, wait. I was busy with this one. Not with that one. But yeah, in terms of movies for this year, what are movies for this year? Movies. So, still coming out this year, that is. Because, of course, we've had a couple. I think my favorite so far is actually Thunderbolts, which I did not really expect. Because, to be fair, I didn't really expect much of Thunderbolts, but that was a pleasant surprise. Oops. Oh, stop dropping things. Come on. All right, where is this? There you are. Dropping pieces. This happens so much during my live streams. But yeah, in terms of the remainder of the year, damn, Google is not particularly helpful. Box Office Mojo, come on, help me out here. So there, I suppose. Okay. Can I? This is just May, right? No. I'm not gonna go through that. Just want to build. But yeah, Mission Impossible, Tron Ares. Tron Ares is looking pretty cool. As a fan of the first two Tron movies, I think Tron Ares is looking good. Anyway, if you're tuning into my stream right now, hello. If you're interested in more Star Wars content, please subscribe to the channel. Leave a like on the stream, helps the channel. If you have any questions for me, ask away, whatever you want. I'm just building, you know. Another Conjuring movie. Right, I saw that there was a trailer for that today. I only saw the first one, and that's out of the entire universe. And I thought it was okay. I wasn't the biggest fan, so I kind of just stopped after that. I'm not the biggest horror guy. Avatar 3. I haven't even seen 2, and I don't really plan to anytime soon. Ballerina, John Wick spin-off. I'm curious what that will give us. There's another Mortal Kombat coming out. I was not aware of that one. I should really make my own job a little bit easier with these banners. Let's see. Banner. There we go. And beep. Alright. Cool. No. Camera was out of focus for a moment. Alright. Also, I have no idea about what I'm building here at the moment. Like, what am I even doing? I can only assume that this is like the base of it. Is this a question to me, like which I prefer? Because I have seen all of both movies, but I've really only seen them. Yeah, like I've seen them like once. The first Johnny English I've seen more often. So in terms of nostalgia, I've seen the first Johnny English more than any of all of the others. But I barely remember seeing Johnny English 2 or 3. I don't even know what the hell they were about. They were very forgettable. So, in terms of, I think probably Austin Powers is a bit better overall. They're a bit more memorable. Like I grew up watching Johnny English. For some reason that really stuck, which is funny because then like I think I actually watched Johnny English before I ever watched the James Bond movie, and then I was introduced to James Bond and I became a big Bond fan. Oh, come on. Wings? I can only assume it's wings. Again, I'm European. We don't have that. We have KFC if you want. Bit too late to have coffee for me, but you go ahead. In general, it's a bit too late over here, but I'm awake and I want to build some Legos. So what am I gonna do? Okay, where do you go here? It seems like this is actually a moving element in there. And then we move all of this like so. Yeah, that looks about right. All right, cool. It's like that. By the way, add it to the pile. I've got so many brick separators. Okay, last 2 steps, and then bag number 1 is done. And this is bag number 1. No, crap, that can't be it. I have a piece here, and that is not a backup piece. Everything else can be a backup piece that I have left, but not that one. Ah, shit. Okay. I have the feeling I actually saw this, and I just yeah, there you go. So it's also down there. Okay, cool. So down there is where my missing piece goes. Okay, now this is back 1. All right. Yes, a whole lot of times, but the last time was actually 20 years ago. But I have 2 half-brothers living in Miami, who we used to visit all the time. It's just that, yeah, I haven't had the opportunity ever since. But yeah, I've been there a lot of times. I mean, there's a reason my English is this good. To be fair. Let's see. Back in the tea. Dish. Too many bags in here. Oh. I have the feeling that you live in Texas. Am I right about that? All right. Just put the part over here. And we move on. Bag number 2. Called it. No. I don't even live in England. It's in the channel's name, Dutch. No, not Amsterdam. Other side of the country. I'm essentially like Luke in the original Star Wars. If there's a bright center of the universe, I'm the planet that is farthest from. So, in that regard, if Amsterdam is the bright center of the universe, I'm the city that is farthest from. I think that fits. Now I kind of want to watch Star Wars, but I need to save it. I'm really annoyed because I've been having a craving to watch Star Wars, like the movies, for the past couple of weeks now. But I'm like, I'm gonna watch them when I get to the end of Andor, because people have like essentially the people promoting Andor have been saying the moment you're done with Andor, you will want to watch Rogue One, and the moment that I watch Rogue One, I want to watch Star Wars and the original trilogy. So Andor is finishing this next week. Then I'm gonna watch Rogue One and then the original trilogy as well. So there's a plan. Yeah. And then at some point the sequel trilogy as well. At least 2 or 3. I don't I think I actually completely skipped Rise of Skywalker last year because we just didn't want to. Like, I'll gladly watch Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, but Rise of Skywalker is just not my favorite. Oh shit, this is wrong. Whoops. Other side. Alright, that's better. Alright, so now I'm making the other side of what I made before. So, is there something on YouTube that I should watch? I already watched Star Wars Explained's entire live stream. And I do mean the entire live stream. That was 3 hours of just gushing over Andor, which I adore. Oh, shit. You mean if we split money most of the time? On occasion, I'll pay. Like, to be fair, we both have jobs. We both make about the same amount of money, and we've been together for quite a while, so we have a system. Oh, there we go. Ooh, Mexican food, my favorite. To quote Donkey. Shrek, Fiona, Howard, Donkey. I adore Shrek too. Like, I like Shrek, but I adore Shrek too. So now remember, like the last one, to put 2 of these on both sides, not just on one side. Exactly. And in the morning, I'm making waffles. Oh, stupid cord. It's one flaw of my computer. It doesn't have Bluetooth. Otherwise, I could just use a wireless headset. Would have been so much easier. I suppose I need a new computer at some point, then I'll definitely make sure it has Bluetooth. Oh, I actually haven't seen this video from Star Wars Explained, and I think, you know what? I can just watch the entire video that they did. All right, Explain. Where are you? Where do you have your review for? Okay, well, if that's the real rejects, then it's someone out. Someone. There you go. All right, come on. There we go. So I'm going to put on a video from Star Wars Explained where he reviews the latest episodes of Andor. I haven't seen this one yet. I meant to check this one out earlier. So I'm just going to put it up here. Present screen 1 with the audio. Let's get rid of... Oh, let's put you on. But let's pause you. Let's make myself a little bit bigger here. All right, let's see about this. I'm curious because there was apparently something that he said in his video that people were really raving about. I haven't seen this one yet, so let's see. Okay, come on.
Personal most anticipated arc of Season 2 of Andor, the Gorman Massacre and Mon Mothma's big speech in the aftermath, and her immediate escape after the fact. I've been looking forward to these episodes since Gorman was name-dropped back in Season 1. So, does this arc live up? Yes, it does. This is my favorite arc of the season so far, and I would count it right up there with my favorites from Season 1 as well. Weirdly, I think these are also the episodes I have the most criticisms for, but this arc is so good that in my opinion, it excels despite them.
Okay.
We're now in the year 2 BBY, and we open up on Yavin 4. It's coming along nicely, and that's great to see, But this is the first time this season I really felt some of the restrictions of this episode structure. Andor the series is first and foremost about Cassian, as it should be. We see him go from apathy to revolutionary in season 1, and now we're seeing the most important days of his life leading up to Rogue One. He is the focus, but this series is also about Mon Mothma and Luthen and the formation of the Rebel Alliance as a whole. I understand that's the secondary story, but I would have loved to see Yavin develop more over time. I would have loved to see Cassian and Luthen's working relationship devolve to the point where Cassian leaves to join the Yavin cell. I think this creative team could have told an absolutely incredible 5-season, 60-episode story that more fully fleshed out both Cassian and the rebellion
That
equally.
would have been it, huh?
But I respect Diego and Tony's decision to go this route. Like I said, I think these episodes are among my favorites of the series, but jumping straight to Yavin makes the Star Wars canon junkie in me long to see more. All that said, I really like some of the visual cues the production design and costuming gives us to show us some of that progression, like Draven's less official looking uniform.
Yeah.
Okay, nerd whining out of the way, let's get back into the actual episode. Willman has gotten himself away from Saw Gerrera and all his Rhydonium huffing insanity to join this cell as well. He reunites with Bix and Cassian, who is recovering from a blaster burn that won't quite heal. It sounds like Will is still working with Luthen, while Cassian wants nothing to do with the man. He's realized the time has come to stop working individually and instead start coming together, start trusting, which is a pretty stark contrast to the Cassian we saw in the previous 3 episodes. Again, I think it would have been really interesting to watch that develop over maybe an entire season, but I can connect those dots on my own. I mostly think Cassian has come to this realization to shield Bix from Luthen and to protect their relationship. That's all shown to us on screen, and that is what becomes important in this arc. Jumping over to Gorman, that planet is also looking very different from how we last saw it. Imperial presence is becoming more dominating, and we're also seeing the propaganda machine in full effect, delivering news stories about Gorman aggression that sound completely fabricated. Dedra is already there, and she is instructed to create a situation that allows for the Empire to declare martial law over the planet as soon as possible. As Partagaz bluntly puts it, bad luck, Gorman. The Empire wants their Calkite, and they'll stomp over anyone to get it. The sense of impending dread in these opening scenes is intense. Even Dedra seems uncomfortable with what was her own idea, to basically bolster the Gorman front to create a solid enemy to point at so the Empire could say, see, we have to take control of the planet because of the insurgents. Now that reality is setting in and she's losing some control of the situation to Captain Kaido, Dedra doesn't seem crazy about the whole thing. Cyril also doesn't seem to be happy. I love seeing him throw some sass at the freaking ISB, as I think he's finally starting to realize which side he supports. Since episode 1, he has been all about law and order, and he thought that's what the Empire stood for, but that's only on the surface. To quote The Rise and Fall of the Galactic Empire, the various laws and legal systems created by the Empire were never designed or intended to be used in the service of justice. Instead, they were, like so many other tools, a weapon to be used against those who failed to comply with the required levels of obedience demanded by Imperial authorities. I think the laws have been a comfort to Cyril all this time. In his mind, nothing bad ever happens to law-abiding citizens. But remember, this entire story begins because Cassian is shaken down by some of Cyril's own peers. These people in power use the law to break the law for their own benefit. Cyril has always thought he was serving law and order and justice, but now he's realizing the Empire is bombing its own facilities, and he has to beg his girlfriend for the truth. The walls are coming down.
Baby, you play too much.
Gotta have ads. I don't have YouTube Premium. Well, just the thing is, it's way too expensive. It's actually appealing, but it's way too expensive. Anywho.
Lies about the bombing continue to spread, and the Gorman senator expresses his regret to Mothma, lamenting that the Empire doesn't even have the decency to tell a good lie at this point, which is all too real. In politics, in the media, and everywhere online, people spew whatever bullshit they think will get them the most clicks and the most attention. It doesn't have to be even remotely based in reality, but if it's sensational, it will make people take notice, and it'll get people talking, and all too many people will read a stupid headline and just assume it's true. I loved Oren's goodbye, and thank you to Mon for her grace and courage. It's a little thing, but since we've spent so much time in this series humanizing Mothma, I now understand how much those little things must mean to her.
Just need to pause and remove because I have finished bag number 2. And yeah, this is definitely like the front, essentially the start of the back with a big dish. But this is 2 bags done. So starting to look good. All right, bag number 3. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Now, back 3. I'm gonna put the video up again. I probably should have said Andor spoilers. Oops. Oh, come on. I clicked it. It's so difficult. Anywho.
Her. She works a thankless job and lives in a thankless marriage, and while Luthen certainly values her, I don't think he's the type to show much gratitude. Someone thanking her for her courage, even when her work fails, it might be a small gesture, but who knows? Maybe that was the last thing she needed to hear to have the continued courage for what's to come. Meanwhile, the Gorman front argues about what the next step is: continued peaceful protest or true aggression. They're being blamed for violence anyway. I've brought this up all season, but Star Wars often explores how to recognize when it is the right time to stand and fight. When is violence regrettably necessary? It's never something to revel in, but sometimes it is inevitable, and that should never be an easy decision. Caving to violence every chance you get is how the Empire operates, because they don't care who they hurt on the way to their goals. But the Gorman front, they do care. I love Lazine's speech, stopping them from arguing, saying it doesn't matter if they fight the Empire or continue to peacefully protest. What matters most is that they stay true to who they are as Gormans, that they don't lose themselves or lose sight of saving their home, and that whatever they do together. Cyril even seems like he wants to help, obviously not understanding there's nothing he can do to stop what's coming. I'm curious to know what happened between him and the Gorman front that they no longer trust him. It's another one of those things from this time jump that I'm able to connect the dots. I guess I don't need to be shown how he fell out of their trust to understand the story, but I do think knowing would make some of his scenes with the Resistance more impactful. If we saw him make a choice between them and the Empire or something, I would have liked that.
Ter ere van 80 jaar vrijheid is er nu een gratis...
Apologies for these ads. All right, let's go.
On Yavin, Dedra's presence on Gorman is big news for Cassian, Wilman, and Bix, who all have a vendetta against her after what she did to Bix on Ferrix,
Yeah.
but Cassian isn't keen on doing anything for Luthen. He also has that blaster wound that won't heal, so Bix takes him to a Force healer, and my immediate reaction to that was trepidation, since this series has mostly veered away from the Force,
Yeah,
but I think they nailed how much mysticism was dropped in this story, because obviously the Force is still in this galaxy, and we all know that Cassian has a destiny. Connecting that destiny with the Force is awesome and even comforting to me. Rogue One was the story of a group of people who were a footnote in the opening crawl of A New Hope. Until 2016, they were background characters in the larger fight between good and evil. While Anakin Skywalker was the chosen one of prophecy, the Cosmic Force uses vessels to fulfill specific purposes all the time. Seeing that Cassian is one of those vessels, fantastic. And I love the Force Healer's line calling out all that he has been gathering. I've said this before, but Cassian's experiences with Nimic, Kino Loy, Marva, Luthen, Brasso, Bix, Everyone in this series is shaping him into that person that will choose to sacrifice everything to go with Jyn, to be right where he needs to be so he can play a part in stealing the plans to the Death Star so another chosen one can make a single impossible shot to save the galaxy. I love this. I'm glad that Andor is a grounded Star Wars series, but the Force is the spirituality of the galaxy far, far away. I don't think I would have minded if it never came up, but I'm glad it isn't being completely ignored. And I like that it's also confusing and scary for Cassian to consider that all these moments in his life might be building up for something important. It's scary to recognize the power and responsibility you have to the world. Yoda warned Luke about exactly that. Maybe to escape that fear for something more familiar, Cassian decides to head to Gorman, annoying General Draven, and I was very happy to see him pop back up. At the hotel, I love that Cassian checks in with the bellhop, who has now become part of the Gorman Front, and because of that relationship he built a year ago, he's got a friend on the inside who won't report him for not having the right documents. I don't know what it is about that character named Thela, but I really gravitate towards him. Knowing his story of being part of the Tarkin massacre when he was younger and being part of the fight now, and then knowing what eventually happens to him, I guess I see a lot of parallels between him and Cassian. I like him a lot. Now we've reached the second episode of the arc, the massacre itself, so let's just dive into this insanity. I don't know if this was purposeful, but the opening shot of the city reminded me of Jeddah City with the dome and the large tower rising above all the other buildings. Another war zone, another place the Empire ruins.
Sure.
In the morning, the Imperials open the plaza back up, removing all the barricades and building a new one around their headquarters, basically inviting all the Gormans to come back inside and also ruining Cassian's sniping position. The newscasters on site keep talking about how Gormans have been pushing back against, quote, Imperial norms and how much of a problem that is. And that shit infuriates me, especially lately. I mean, the Empire, the Nazis, fascists of any kind, they want everyone and everything to be the same. They want everything to be normal, and they don't want any surprises or anything that makes them uncomfortable. They think they get to define what normal is, and anyone who doesn't fit into their little box becomes a target just for existing. The trans community, the queer community, people of color, immigrants with their own customs, neurodivergent people, they have all been in the crosshairs, and that's not even every group. And for the people in the comments that already started typing, why can't you talk about Star Wars without making it political? Save it. Andor is not being subtle. Star Wars as a whole has never been subtle.
No.
The Clone Wars says, embrace others for their differences, for that makes you whole.
Yeah.
Star Wars wants us to reject the idea of one single normal and instead asks us to embrace those around us and to celebrate those differences.
Essentially, when it comes to Star Wars, it is going to have a political message, whether you like it or not. And it can be subtle or it can not be subtle. Andor is not particularly subtle about it. Andor is very politically driven. And I even touched upon that in my video. And usually I'm not really the person who is going to go into politics all that much because I'm not all that interested in it. But I'm not blind to what's going on in the world. I know what's going on in the world. And actually, to give an example of what he's talking about, like it really sucks that nowadays there are entirely too many people who think that they can control a certain aspect of life, that they can control other people in terms of what they say, what they do, which is horseshit. Freedom of speech is still a thing we should follow. We should allow. If someone has a different opinion, we should accept that. We should allow that. Essentially, up to a certain extent. But that's more so like if a person actually takes radical action, like starts to be violent or whatnot. But in terms of, everyone has an opinion and they should be able to share it. Like, what the craziest thing was? Yesterday, I got into a very heated argument about Andor with a friend of mine, and the friend at one point was like, "Oh, so that's what you think, I'm done," and he blocked me. He decided to block me, and I can't even message him anymore. I literally asked, or initially we were having a discussion in a group chat when that was done, I reached out to him. Wait, what just happened? Like, we just disagreed on Andor. We were literally just discussing a TV show, and he blocked me because he didn't agree with me. And I'm like, is something? And initially, I was very upset about that. I was like, really not okay with that. But like, I needed a little bit of time to calm down. Eventually, I did, because I realized I had not done anything wrong, and I had also discussed it with other people who were in that group chat. Like, how do you guys see it? And they were like, yeah, no, this is weird. This is not you. So like, but it's just weird that there are people in this world who truly believe that they can just shut people down forcibly, simply, because other people have something to say. Another example, by the way, is in Formula One. As of this year, the absolute idiot called Mohammed Ben Sulayem or something. I don't even know his name. I don't even care about this guy. I just don't want him involved with Formula One because he's ruining everything. Like, he made a rule that drivers are not allowed to express their opinion on an incident that they might have been involved in, which is horseshit. If they were involved in an incident, I think that they would be the ones to say something about it, to share their opinion, to essentially say what they saw in the moment, because there are plenty of times, drivers racing at like very high speeds are at times going to have a dangerous crash. That happens. It's car racing. But to just forcibly shut them up, of course, if they do say something, they get penalized for it. So they could say something, but then you get penalized. You don't want that either. So, like, I get the feeling that, this idiot who has absolutely no idea what the hell he's doing should not be involved in Formula One. And like that, this has nothing to do with real life politics, or actually, well, it's not real life politics, but it is an issue in real life that I'm involved in because I like Formula One. I like watching it. I've been watching it for like almost 20 years at this point. And the fact that this is happening there is a clear indication of something happening in the world that I'm not okay with. So I'm not okay with the fact that, that there are people in this world who just want to shut people up and not have them say anything. Are you that much of a fucking snowflake that you can't accept someone else's opinion? Like, I've learned over the past couple of years that, in terms of movies, TV shows, specifically Star Wars, something I'm very passionate about, people have different opinions. That's fine. If some people like something that I don't, or vice versa, that's fine. We can just discuss it. We can be civil about it. I feel it's a very fascist look if you are going to shut people up simply for having a different opinion. So, anyway, Alex, continue.
And
Stupid ad. Okay.
And so the Gore, these people the Empire has labeled as abnormal, of course they want to speak out, and they're right to. But poor Caro, it's so painful watching him be completely right, to know it's all a setup and be powerless to stop it. I love his scene with Cyril, spitting every lie Cyril is telling himself back in his face, telling Cyril he would be a fool to believe what he's saying, basically calling Cyril a fool because he does believe the lies, or at least he's trying to. He doesn't want to learn that he's actually been an agent of chaos this entire time. Likewise, Dedra is seeing that she won't be walking away from any of this with her hands clean. Captain Kaido might be organizing everything, but he assures her that she is the person that will give the actual orders. This is something the Alphabet Squadron books got into, that the Empire made sure to make everyone complicit in its crimes, from the highest-ranking generals down to the pencil pushers. This is the behavior that was normalized, if you want to talk about imperial norms. As Cassian leaves, he runs into my favorite hotel worker who gets to deliver the line, "Rebellions are built on hope."
Yeah.
That is a
Pretty short
fine
about
line to
that.
walk. Sometimes dropping familiar lines comes off as cheesy, but that works for me. During the building intensity, right before a highly traumatic event, Cassian hears this line. Of course it would stick with him. Like the Force
Right
Healer
so.
said, Cassian has been gathering people and moments that will change who he is. Even this man at the hotel he barely knows. As Cassian leaves, he and Cyril barely miss one another, which
Yeah.
is so stressful.
Yeah.
And then Cassian realizes he can't leave. Imperials are at the top of the stairs, allowing people to come in, but surely they won't let them out. Even Cyril can see it. He sees the reporters telling lies, and he sees all the KX droids ready for deployment,
Yeah.
a technology that, by the way, is technically illegal under the Empire. They passed laws against battle droids after the Clone Wars, but they continued to make their own, calling
have
them security droids
droids.
instead.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something going through Cyril's mind, but his world keeps falling apart when he confronts Dedra and gets the
Oh, yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
He finally wakes up to see the Empire for what it really is, and he heads into the crowd. Stormtroopers close all the gore into the plaza, and I've talked about this before, but Andor has made stormtroopers terrifying again.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
often the butt of jokes in Star Wars because they're unable to shoot characters with plot armor.
Well,
But this show is about the characters that don't have plot armor. Obviously, we know some will survive to reach Rogue
That's
One,
right.
but the hundreds or thousands of people in that plaza? Nope. Watching this episode
Cassian is the
twisted
only
my
one we
stomach
know
into
survived.
knots. I've said this before, but whenever this show wants to ratchet up the tension, it uses rhythm or music or chanting incredibly well. Banging on metal on Ferrix, the Donnie chanting during the Eye, the One Way Out chant, the Ferrix funeral march, the wedding dance party, and here we get the Gore chanting and singing. As Lazine sees weapons and Molotov cocktails passed around, I think he tries to calm things down by turning the chant into a Gorman anthem. I think he's recognizing the danger they're all in and is trying to stop his people from striking first. That's what the Empire wants. That's what they're ready for.
yeah.
Since the Gormans don't take the bait, the Imperial captain sends his sergeant and a bunch of young troopers out into the crowd for no actual reason other than escalation.
Yeah.
When the Gormans still don't take the bait, Dedra has to give the order, and Kaido orders a sniper to open fire on his own people. And those soldiers are young for two reasons. First, of course they're going to freak out and start blasting.
Yeah.
But they'll also be called young heroes, cut down by ruthless Gorman terrorists. All hell breaks loose, and it's pure chaos for the final 15 minutes of the episode. Just stormtroopers shooting fish in a barrel. And Kaido just smiles as he watches the chaos. He doesn't care about any of the deaths, Gorman or Imperial. And then he sends the KX droids out to go absolutely insane. I'm so glad we spent a long, slow-motion moment with Cyril crying as he comes to the full realization of what he has been a part of all this time. Not law and order, not justice, lies and chaos and death. I truly do think he finally understood. There may have even been hope for him. But then he sees Cassian, and it all comes rushing back. The pain, the humiliation, the obsession. He just can't get past that. Their fight is nuts, so brutal, even more painful because I was just starting to feel some hope for Cyril. It's kind of like Kino Loy. I thought he was going to be the one prisoner Cassian would have to fight and defeat in order to escape Narkina 5. The fact that he became not just an ally, but a great leader was incredible. And of course, the fact that he couldn't leave the prison was heartbreaking. I'm having similar, although lesser feelings here. Cyril gave me some hope, but he just couldn't escape his own mental prison.
Oh, God. I'm getting emotional just listening to him talk about this. Anyway, for a moment, all right. Bag number 3 is completed. Most notably, you got this part down here, which is essentially the ramp up eventually. Also at the back, you see that it's essentially nicely come together as a whole thing. Pretty nice so far. And essentially, it's going to get taller than this. I'm pretty sure it's going to get taller, especially if you have the front thing hanging out and whatnot. It's going to be quite tall. My entire idea, though, was that it would fit here instead of my AT-AT because I want to get rid of that one. I have that one. Like, I have the big one. I want to get rid of that. Anyway, bag number 4. Yep. Just trying to think like how much longer I want to go for. At least I want to finish this video. And then we'll see. To the side over here. And always need to check if there's anything left in there. Anyway. All right. All right, let's add Alex back to the stage. Is it so difficult? If I have it on this, then I don't want the other one. StreamYard, come on. All right.
He was in too deep. He just had to get Cassian.
Yeah.
And the fact that Cassian doesn't even remember him is perfect.
Yeah.
Once again, the axe forgets, but the tree remembers. And that fact might have saved Cassian's life. To Cyril and the audience, this is a pretty epic and emotional confrontation. He's been obsessed with Andor for years. To learn that Cassian hasn't thought about Cyril at all, that's like the last bit of his reality shattering before he's shot down. A big theme I'm seeing this season is about characters coming to realizations too late. The rebels on Yavin, Cinta, now Cyril, they all got things figured out right before tragedy struck. I think it's a reminder for the rebellion to become a rebel alliance before it's too late, to stop distrusting one another and to start cooperating. And we know they eventually do, just in time, right when the Death Star is completed. I see Cyril's epiphany in the midst of a massacre as another cautionary tale. As Cassian flees the plaza, he is pursued by a KX droid, but is saved by Sam, which is fitting. Willman helps Cassian load the droid's remains into a transport before he runs off to find Drina, which I have some thoughts about. I'm not going to get into all of them in this video. I'm going to make that its own topic. I'd be very curious to hear if people find this a satisfying origin for K2 or not. Personally, I think it's fine. I mean, the KX droids are terrifying. I like their use here, but I have a lot of nerdy canon baggage that goes along with this moment, because this overwrites a comic in a way that is irreconcilable. I had prepared myself for that, but even without the comic, this just seems a little out of place to me. Like, why did he feel it was important to grab this droid in the middle of all this, except for the fact that K2 had to be brought into the story? I think this is the one moment from this episode that really gave me some pause, and I'm not going to waste any more time harping on it because I know it's just because of my extra nerdy baggage, and in reality, it doesn't stop this episode from being amazing. I will talk about it another time, because I would rather talk about stuff that actually matters. The ending of this episode is incredibly powerful. Yeah. We hear Drina spreading the truth of what happened, desperate to find someone that can help, saying that if you have any faith left in the truth, to pass the message on that this isn't insurrection, it's murder. And we cut that with Imperial propaganda about Imperial heroes that we just saw killing thousands of people, using their deaths to stoke fear of further rebel activity, asking their viewers, what price are they willing to pay for their safety? But that safety is a lie. That safety is at the whim of the Empire. You can be safe as long as you don't live on top of something they need. Some people want to keep you afraid of those outside of the norm. They send out absurd lies to make people afraid, angry, and full of hate. And God, that sure sounds familiar, doesn't it? Fear, anger, and hate. Didn't someone in Star Wars warn us about letting those emotions control us? The thing is, there is a never-ending list of people they want us to fear. They'll come for one group and then another because fascism needs that fear. It needs its people to be afraid. Charles Soule said it better than I can in his Hidden Empire comic. Empires need enemies. They need a justification for all those weapons, for all those soldiers, a reason for their subjects to be afraid, so the people will tolerate a level of control they would never otherwise allow. And do you know what's extra tragic? I keep talking this season about how we're rooting for the Rebel Alliance to fully form before it's too late to blow up the Death Star and stop the Empire. But it's already too late for the Gormans, and the people of Ferrix, and the Donnie, and the Kenari, and the Lasat, and countless other planets that were subjugated, ruined, or straight up destroyed by the Empire.
Yeah.
The Gorman massacre does not happen completely in vain, as we're going to see in the next episode, but would that be any comfort to those that died or lost loved ones? Oh, well, at least our deaths helped the Rebel Alliance get its shit together. No. And that's why when one group or even one person is oppressed, we should stand up against that the first time.
Let's see. Go.
Okay, so that was just the second episode of this arc, and we've still got one to go. This is a heavy week, but let's press on.
It is.
Because Senator Oren expresses that exact same sentiment as he is arrested for no reason. It's my people today and yours tomorrow. Remember Gorman. Mon tells Bail she intends to speak out, and she knows it'll make her a fugitive the second it's over.
Fine.
But no one else has been willing to speak the words they're all feeling.
They're
As much as the
pussies.
Gorman massacre itself, I've been dying to see the aftermath. I've been wanting Genevieve O'Reilly to have a chance to deliver a monologue on the level of Kino Loy's or Marva's or Luthen's, all from season 1.
Yep.
So getting some word that she is absolutely planning to let it rip in the Senate got me hyped up from the opening scene.
Exactly.
Erskine finds a listening device in Mothma's office, so he sends her out to practice her speech at the plaza where Luthen finds her. And all of this distrust and secrecy comes to a boiling point. He tells her that her closest aide has been working for him and says that Bail's evacuation team has been infiltrated. He tells her to go with his agent, and of course that's Cassian. We know Mothma can trust him, but from her point of view, everything is falling apart. It's a gamble either way at this point because she knows how willing Luthen is to kill people that could make him vulnerable. She brings up Tate Kolma and how quickly Luthen decided he had to die. Is he just doing the same thing to her now? How does she know Cassian isn't the assassin and Bail's team is fine? She doesn't. She can't even trust Erskine. The level of loneliness she's got to be feeling going into the Senate has to be massive. Meanwhile, Cassian has made his way back to Coruscant to serve as Mothma's escape plan, but after what he saw in Gorman and after everything he's been through, he tells Clea this will be his final mission. I can understand some faltering after witnessing everything that happened on Gorman, and I love that the music is like a sad, defeated version of the Ferrix funeral march. He doesn't know if he can continue, and he tells Clea he wants to make his own decisions. I love her retort. That's exactly what they're fighting for. And has Cassian been making his own decisions? His next scene gets back into the force of it all. Luthen doesn't have the perspective of the Force healer, but he notes how interesting it is that Cassian appeared when he was needed and continued on to help on Aldhani, Narkina 5, Ferrix, Sienar, Gorman, and now Coruscant, where he's gonna save the future leader of the Rebel Alliance. Luke Skywalker might have the one big moment galactic historians can look at to say, here is when the fall of the Empire begins. But Cassian has had all of these smaller, secret victories that made the destruction of the Death Star possible. We could argue that the fall of the Empire began when a young boy from Kenari entered a crashed Republic ship. I love that. Mon has a final moment with Bail, and I like that they both seem to know this speech has been a long time coming. I think they've been planning for Mothma to deliver a speech like this at some point. It was more a question of when it would happen. Maybe they had a day in mind, but the Gorman atrocity bumped things up. This is another element I would have enjoyed seeing more build-up to. If the year 2 BBY had an entire 12 episodes all to itself, every arc could have seen a little hint of what they had planned. I would have loved to see the friction between Luthen and Mon as she discussed publicly denouncing the Emperor, and maybe he resists that idea, but then he gets on board and was preparing an exit plan, but then Gorman happens and the timeline has to be moved up, so everything is rushed and panicked. That could have been fun, but even with only 3 episodes for this year of the timeline, I think the episode does a great job of making this feel like a huge culmination. We know Mothma has been struggling to stay silent while Yavin develops, and we also know that if she is captured after the speech, that could mean the end of everything.
Right.
As Cassian and the false extraction team get into place, we see senators eating up and spitting back out the narrative that it was Gorman who massacred Imperials on their homeworld, and they raise the question, wow, isn't there more we could have done to avoid such a tragedy? That's building off the final lines of the previous episode, questioning what price people are willing to pay for their supposed safety. But then one senator yields her time to Bail, who then uses Imperial protocols to grant Mothma time to speak, which obviously never would have been allowed otherwise. And I like how much Bail is able to point out how everything is in line with rules the Empire itself set in place.
Yeah.
And it's great to see how many other pieces fall into place, like IT crews that can't turn off the feed. It really does feel like all these people Luthen positioned to be called upon at the right time are falling into place. Because this speech, this moment is worth it. So let's talk about it. First, I think there might be some people who will be quick to point out that what she says here isn't what she said in Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
Oh well. If you talk about both speeches in a broader sense, they're very similar. Mothma condemns the Emperor for the Gorman massacre. That is still true in both cases, it's just that the exact same words aren't used. It was a passing moment in Star Wars Rebels, but this is a huge climactic moment for Andor, and I think it's more important to say something real than to check a canon box.
Nieuw Eva-klaar AZ gelcrème van La Roche-Posay. Voor volwassenen met acne-gevoelige huid.
Great.
Mijn scriptie over slaapstoornissen, mede mogelijk gemaakt door...
Shut up.
Is about the sanctity of the truth and the danger of losing it. Mothma says, of all the things at risk, the loss of an objective reality is perhaps the most dangerous. The death of truth is the ultimate victory of evil. So much of Andor, and especially this season, has been about truth and trust. Beyond Andor, it's also a major theme of all of Star Wars. The Clone Wars has the moral of every single episode written in blue text before each story actually begins. Truth and trust come up more than 20 times, more than any other themes. In war, truth is the first casualty. Searching for the truth is easy, accepting the truth is hard. All warfare is based on deception. Struggles often begin and end with the truth. Deceit is the weapon of greed. No gift is more precious than trust. The first step toward loyalty is trust. Trust is the greatest of gifts, but it must be earned. You must trust in others or success is impossible. George Lucas wanted to pass on to young people watching the Clone Wars many different lessons, but teaching them to separate truth from fiction was one of his biggest priorities. And I cannot think of a more relevant time for that lesson, and not just for young people, but for everyone, especially in the age of social media and algorithms and AI-generated search results and images and video and audio. Companies like X, Facebook, and Google want to control your view of the truth.
Yeah.
It is no mistake that social media algorithms tend to favor the most extreme and divisive voices.
Yeah.
It's not lost on me that I can go to Star Wars Celebration and feel like the Star Wars fandom is an amazing community, but then I go to Star Wars Twitter or YouTube and get lost in a sea of rage.
Yeah.
Google used to serve up good search results with answers to questions, but more recently, they've begun serving up personalized results that they think you will want to see and not the results you need to see.
Yeah.
And it's become littered with AI results that recommend eating a rock a day. These companies and their owners want us to feel isolated when we should feel more connected than ever. They want to lead people down a path of fear and anger because that's the easiest way to keep people engaged. When I first started this YouTube channel, I remember their own course says the best way to engage an audience is by making them feel something. Of course, all of their examples were to make people laugh or feel inspired. But want to know what emotions are far easier to generate? Fear and anger. Easily they flow, quick to join you in a fight. Social media and news outlets are all competing for your attention, and the quick and easy path is to generate a little fear. So we're fed a constant stream of algorithmically curated bullshit presented as fact or search results that are flat out, sometimes even dangerously wrong, or God forbid you leave YouTube's autoplay function on.
Oh, yeah.
We've
don't
entered
do
a
that.
time where the truth can be so easily obscured by whoever generates the most fear and the most outrage. The monsters that scream the loudest are given the most attention by tech and social media companies that profit from those screams and the engagement they generate. These companies have come to thrive on deception. If they obscure the truth, they can make people afraid. The path of ignorance is guided by fear. And if they can make people afraid of some other group, then they can make people angry at those groups. They can make people hate those groups. Just look at whatever Fox News is outraged about to see what I'm getting at. But do you see where I'm going with this?
Yes.
It's all the dark side. Fear leads to anger, hatred, and suffering. And fear comes so easily because by nature, people tend to fear what they don't know or understand. We live in a world where it's becoming easier and easier to find understanding and overcome that fear. But we also have powerful groups that are working to stop us from learning the truth about the big, scary other. And if they can stop us from learning the truth, then they can keep us stuck in our fear. Truth is so important because truth can strike down the specter of fear. And the truth is that those other groups are just people like you or me who want to live their lives in peace. Most everyone is just on this earth trying to do their best. But that's not a narrative that works for the Empire or governments like it. I said it earlier and I'll say it again. Empires need enemies. They need a reason for their subjects to be afraid so the people will tolerate a level of control they would never otherwise allow. They want us to fear and distrust one another. If we are unable to trust other groups or other communities, we will never be able to come together to truly unite and stand up for what's right. You must trust in others or success is impossible. Andor's second season has shown us over and over again what distrust does to people who are on the same side of a fight. It hinders cooperation, and it gives the enemy time to get closer and closer to the ultimate goal of unlimited power and destruction. Trust and truth are central to Star Wars, and they have been central to Andor, and I'm so glad Mothma's big speech got to the heart of the issue.
Pigmentvlekken door de zon. Nieuw Vichy Pigment Specialist B.
And I'll speak to the people watching who are mad that I now went on some political rant and put politics into Star Wars.
Oh, fine.
That's not me doing it.
No.
I mean, I believe every word I just said, but
You're
these
good.
are all lessons that grew in me thanks to Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's not just Andor, but so much of what I just said comes straight from George Lucas and the lessons he quite literally spelled out in the Clone Wars. Star Wars can be escapism. It can be goofy and pulpy, and yeah, sometimes there are fart jokes, but it's also been a morality tale since its inception. Star Wars and its themes have not changed, but some of its audience stopped listening. I loved the speech, but the episode isn't over. Cassian meets up with Mothma immediately after she finishes, and man, I love shows where multiple characters have their own storylines and they slowly converge. Having Cassian get to be the person to get her off Coruscant is incredibly exciting. I love that Mothma has just done something monumental and brave, and she is immediately thrust into terror and violence, and yeah, she's scared. Who wouldn't be? Her battlefield has been the Senate, but those days are over, and she's entering into the side of the fight with blasters and death. She sheds those Senate robes and puts on the jacket of a soldier. And then they're working together to escape the building and to kill Cloris, even if Mothma didn't exactly know that was Cassian's plan. I love how Genevieve played all this. Cloris was with the ISB, but she still spent years with that man. It would be shocking to see him shot down like that. They escape to their secret Coruscant apartment and part ways, because a different ship is coming to take her to deliver another speech with a Yavin escort and everything. If you want to see what happens immediately following this episode, go watch Star Wars Rebels Season 3, Episode 18, titled Secret Cargo. She is heading to Dantooine, where she will finally rally all of the disparate Rebel cells into one Rebel alliance. It's something I wouldn't have minded at all if we saw the Yavin group watching it, but Cassian turns the invitation down when he returns. When he gets back to Bix, he tells her about his plan to leave and spend the rest of his days with her. But she knows, or at least believes, he has got a greater destiny, somewhere he needs to be and something he needs to do. It's kind of like a mirror of Cassian's scene with Marva in Season 1, when he wants to take her away from Ferrix and she refuses, saying he can't stay and she can't leave. Now Bix can't stay, and Cassian can't leave, even though he wants to. It's definitely sad, but I don't love this for Bix. I prefer it to her character dying, but I think the character spent a lot of time on the sidelines this season, and I would have liked to see her being a little more active. For the final scene, K2SO is reactivated to at least give Cassian a new friend. I also skipped over Melshi's reintroduction. I do wish both of these characters got to come into the season a little earlier, but I'm glad we'll have them both for the final 3 episodes. But we have reached the end of this arc and this review. I would consider this one of my absolute favorites of the entire series, right up there with the prison arc from Season 1. Tragic, action-packed, and with yet another fantastic and meaningful monologue. Let me know what you thought of these episodes in the comments. If you haven't already...
Alex, that was amazing. That was truly inspirational, and it needed to be said. Because this, the funny thing is, I actually talked about this a little bit earlier. Yeah, the fact that there are people in this world in today's day and age, and it's 2025. I'm sorry that I'm kind of ignoring my Lego build for a moment. I finished back 4. This is the result. The fact that we live in 2025 and the entire world is screaming out, we want to be who we want to be. LGBTQ plus has been a thing for years now. We've seen, of course, a big rise also in movies, and that's what I really appreciate. You know, we have movies like Black Panther, where most of the cast is black to indicate black people have a voice in this world. We have movies like Wonder Woman or Captain Marvel, where there's a female-led superhero for women in this world to show women can be strong. They're a part of the society, and they're just as important as men, you know, or any other gender, because that's the thing. We don't just have 2 genders anymore. We have way more, and we need to accept that. This is the world nowadays, and the unfortunate situation is that as much as we want to be open and accepting, and a lot of people are crying out for that, there are still people in this world who think they can control it and narrow it down to saying men are superior to women, and there are just men and women and nothing else, that kind of stuff. This I don't really want to get political, but this is honestly an important issue I feel needs to be addressed. And the funny thing is, this is coming from a straight white guy. I find this very important. I know a lot of people who have struggled with this. I, of course, cannot really speak much to that because I haven't been in such a situation, but this, unfortunately, is just a thing that is happening in the world, even in today's day and age, and it shouldn't be, I feel. We should be accepting of anyone, everyone, whoever you are, skin color, gender, if you want to, you know, you need to be who you want to be. You need to be able to express yourself, whatever that is. If you feel comfortable doing that, you should be doing that, I feel. Because that's the thing. Like, if you look at my YouTube channel, by the way, I'm just gonna stop this because I'm probably gonna end the stream right after this. But I need to say this. I really want to say this. I have been making videos on this YouTube channel for a very long time, and I'm fully aware that, you know, my videos are not getting the most amount of views. I accept that. I'm fine with that because I don't want to be the sensationalist, you know. I never really want to be. The closest that I came to that is when I replied to people's opinions about The Acolyte last year, because The Acolyte was an absolute shit show online in terms of Star Wars fandom, and I felt that I wanted to say something about that. So the videos that I made on The Acolyte got a whole lot of views because I had an opinion, which was The Acolyte is a good show, shut the fuck up. Okay, to be fair, that's a bit much, but The Acolyte is a good show, and even if you don't like the show, you should be accepting that there are people who do like it. I thought it was a good show, and I got shit for liking it. And I'm just like, so you're one of those people who wants to control others' opinions, and I think that's wrong. And this is what I was talking about earlier as well, about, you know, what happened last night with a friend of mine. He had an opinion about Andor. I had a different opinion. And he was like, oh, so Andor is perfect and can do nothing wrong. Okay, I'm done. And he just leaves. And then I ask him, hey, what the hell just happened? And he just blocks me. I'm just like, sorry, that is not the right kind of mindset. And the weirdest thing is, you know, I thought he was a friend of mine. I thought we got along well. I had known him for years. And all of a sudden this happens. Oh, this was deep. This is very deep. This is not the type. I just want to build some Legos, and I'm getting into deep shit over here with. It's fascinating though, but yeah, makes you think. It's interesting. Anyway, I think I'm just. I need to end the stream right here. I have built 4 bags so far. I've been at it for a little over an hour and a half. This is the result so far. Very much just the bare bones of it, like the bare construction of it. There's not much on the back yet that you can really see. Like this is probably what the finished product is like, and this dish will be there, but there's a whole lot more around this that will see. Oh, and of course, we're starting to build up a little bit more because initially it was just the initial thing, but we're starting to build up a bit. So that's cool. Essentially, like here, you will have the ramp. That's where I'm going to call it because it is very late. I'm in need of a shower. I'm in need of bed. I'm not sure when I'm going to be streaming next. I am kind of thinking maybe Sunday evening. I think Sunday evening I should have some time. Not exactly the same time, probably just a little bit earlier. But yeah, look out for that. Check out my reviews on Andor. I also have some thoughts on Andor. Of course I do. So yeah, as it says on the bottom, like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out some of my other stuff that I have on this channel because I like Star Wars. I like Legos as well. So I have some Lego builds, most of them Star Wars Lego builds. If you want to see more of that, just check out the channel, look around. You should have some fun. With that said, look out for my next live stream or otherwise my Andor reviews, whenever that is. Until then, may the Force be with you.